Hello everyone, here is an interesting question from the chemistry olympiad. A mixture of hydrogen and oxygen is ignited and reacts completely to form water. Which mixture will not produce 18 gram of H2O? This is a good question in terms of understanding the concept of mole concept, limiting reagent and excess reagent. In 18 gram of water, how many moles of water will be there? Let us find out that first. We know that number of moles is equal to mass divided by molar mass. What is the molar mass of water? 16 plus 2, 18. 18 gram per mole is the molar mass of H2O. Therefore, 18 gram divided by 18 gram per mole means that it is 1 mole. Now, if we are getting less than 1 mole or greater than 1 mole, that should be our correct answer. If we are getting exactly 1 mole, it means that that is a wrong answer, because here they are asking which mixture will not produce 18 gram of H2O. So, H2 reacts with O2 and gives water. To balance the equation, we have to put 1 by 2 here. What this means is that when we have 1 mole of H2 and half a mole of O2, we would get 1 mole of H2O. To get this mole ratio, what should be the weight required? Let us calculate that first. We know that N is mass divided by molar mass, and therefore this will be 2 gram divided by molar mass of H2 is 2 gram per mole. So when we have exactly 2 gram, we would get 1 mole of H2. Likewise, here when we have 16 gram and the molar mass of O2 is 32 gram per mole. Therefore, when we have 16 gram, we will get half a mole of O2. Here, we already calculated that. Now, let us check all the options one by one. 2 gram of H2 means 1 mole. 16 gram of O2 means half a mole. And therefore, we will definitely get 1 mole of H2O, that is exactly equal to 18 gram. Therefore, option A is not correct. In option B, once again 2 gram of H2, that is 1 mole. 18 gram of O2, that is slightly in excess of half a mole, because 18 divided by 32 will be 0.5625. This is slightly excess, and therefore we would still get 1 mole. Now, the reason why we will not get more than 1 mole here is because here H2 is the limiting reagent, whereas the O2 is the excess reagent. So, in case if you have forgot the concept of limiting reagent is something where we have whatever the moles, number of moles we have divided by stoichiometric coefficient, and therefore H2 we have 1 mole, stoichiometric coefficient is also 1, and therefore that is equal to 1. But when it comes to O2 here, what will happen? This will be 0.5625 and the stoichiometric coefficient is 1 by 2, that is 0.5, and therefore if you divide that, this will be 1.125. Therefore, this is excess. H2 is not the one that is excess. Therefore, you will get exactly 1 mole here. You will not get more than that. Now, in option C, we have 2 gram of H2, again 1 mole. That means 32 gram of O2. That means we have 1 mole here of O2, which would give 1 mole of H2O. Now, here, what is the limiting reagent once again? Once again, the limiting reagent here is H2, because 1 by 1 is 1, whereas 1 by 2 is 2. And therefore, this is the limiting reagent once again, and this is excess reagent. Let us go to option D. In option D, we have 4 gram of H2. 4 gram of H2 means we have 2 moles here, 16 gram of O2, that is half a mole. We will still get only 1 mole. Why? Because now this is the limiting reagent. This is excess. This is excess reagent, because 2 by 1 is equal to 2, and this is 1 by 2 by 1 by 2, that is equal to 1, and therefore O2 is the limiting reagent now. Therefore, you will get only 1 mole. Let's check with the option E. In option E, we have 4 gram of H2, that means 2 moles, 18 gram of O2, that means 0.5625 moles. Here we will get more than 1 mole of H2O. Why? Because even though O2 is the limiting reagent, we still have something in excess from the limiting reagent. The reason why I say O2 is the limiting reagent here is because 0.5625 divided by 0.5 will be 1.125, whereas 2 divided by 1 is 2. Therefore, in terms of mole ratio, which is the smallest, O2 is the smallest. Therefore, that is the limiting reagent and this is the excess reagent here. However, within the limiting reagent, we have something in excess. Do not get confused between excess reagent and something in excess from the limiting reagent. So, here 0.5 moles will react with 1 mole, that would give 1 mole, and we have something in excess, that excess amount is 0.0625 moles, that would react with how much amount of H2? 2 times 0.1250 moles of H2, and that is the reason it would give more than 1 mole of H2O. Therefore, option E is correct. Let us find out exactly how many grams of water we will get in option E. And for that, let us first write the stoichiometric moles. If we write down the stoichiometric moles, it will be number of moles of H2 divided by whatever the coefficient that we have, we bring it down here, and here number of moles of O2 divided by 1 by 2, and here number of moles of H2O divided by 1. Because this is the limiting reagent here, in option E, O2 is the limiting reagent, we have to compare these two. Therefore, 2 times the number of moles of O2 is equal to number of moles of H2O. Therefore, the number of moles of O2 that we have in option E is 0.5625 moles, that is equal to number of moles of H2O. This means 1.125 moles, that is the number of moles of H2O we have in option E. We know that number of moles is equal to mass divided by molar mass, and therefore we can easily find the mass once we know the number of moles. Therefore, this is 1.125 moles times molar mass of water is 18 gram per mole. Therefore, this is equal to 20.25 grams. That is the mass of water, and that is equal to 1.125 moles.